What an evening starting out. Great set of poets. And now I get to introduce our feature of the evening. Jeffrey Kingman, a wonderful poet, accurate and tight with his words. He studied music composition at UC Berkeley with Edwin Duggar and also at San Francisco State University with Wayne Peterson. He then co-founded a music performance series, Composers Anonymous. He also put his creative energies into rock drumming, partnering with singer-songwriter Killian McGarity in Watershed, which then segued into the Gun and Doll Show. This culminated in two performances at the Fillmore Auditorium. He followed this with a book of short stories, followed by a novel with the help of teacher Linda Watanabe McFerrin. Switching entirely of poetry, he wrote a poetry chapbook with the help of TJ DeFrancesco, and also thanks to D.A. Powell. He then wrote another poetry chapbook with the help of Rusty Morrison, editor of Omnidawn Press. He created a full-length poetry book and a couple of other chapbooks, also with the help of Rusty Morrison. One of the chapbooks, On the Road, was published by Finishing Line Press, as was his full-length poetry book, Beyond That Hill I Gather. That was published in 2021. He's now writing more poetry, and he is a substantially integrated poet. He brings things together. He connects. And that's one of the things that impressed me about his work.
Thank you, Dan. That's quite a long intro there. Dan found that on my website. I kind of forgotten I'd written that sort of my whole life story there, but thank you. I appreciate your having me as featured reader tonight, and thanks to the Sacred Grounds crew as well. So I'm going to go kind of in chronological order. I'll start with a book that I finished writing in about 2018 and was published in 2021. It's my one published full-length book. It's called Beyond That Hill I Gather. And here is the cover. So this book is contains portrait poems of notable women. And on the cover, the visual portraits were done by my wife. So we have up at the top, Cherie Curry, who is the lead singer of the Runaways. We have Billie Holiday, and that's my mom. And that's my wife's great-grandaunt, Mary Gawthorpe, who was a suffragist in the early 20th century in England and was jailed and force-fed for her activism and her beliefs. So I'm going to start with, so there's all kinds of people represented in the book, from comedians to musicians and artists and writers. I'll start with Patti Smith. This poem is called Lost Objects. Kitchen shrinks, the mind small-framed, pantry quietly slowing, tiny black fish breathe briny oxygen alive. Frying in the pan, sound scratched, lungs aplenty but minute breath, sink drips. Sit herself, stay herself, smaller, sippy, widen, water, hotter, daughter, husband, coffee, 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 coffee. Small photograph for the camera, sit behind it, screen door, the picture taker leaving. Is he a William or a Fred? I'm dying now, he says, but still he saves her. Glue holds them. The very stickiness leaves her herself at the bungalow, going away, saying hello. To dye a red object red. And this next one has to do with the rock musician Liz Phair. She came into the limelight in the 90s with an album called Exile in Guyville, which was a response to the Stones album Exile on Main Street. So she, came up with this concept of a double album, and a lot of people felt, well, you're unknown, you're gonna get a double album put out by a record company right off the bat, you're crazy. Well, she did it, and it came out, and the album was a big hit in the indie rock world. So this is called Girls Can't Lift Double. Candy and stupid letters, bones, 12 jets in bed, rocks, lightning. Rough to stand shy in sunshine, kick me. I rip weight off the door, friends in flame. Rules, honey. Wild egg in the basement. Love business. Wounded thrill. Muffled twitch. Tossed hat. Skip the stunts. Press double. Gatefold. Alarm them. Dollar falls up through a hole in my pocket. Now it's proven. What to say after you say, told you. And here's a poem. It's called Garbo Dietrich. How my sister and I made believe we were boys playing rough. Yes, I burned ticks, squash spiders. You must have compared notes. You spoke out loud. Everyone could hear your trail of bees. I listened. Your voice was the phonograph. My unpainted lips are the burgundy you expect yours to be. I fling up handfuls of primrose and you shrug. Go ahead. Shock them with your pants and necktie. Pretend we never met. Clasp my unconscious body. Support me firmly under my arm with your right hand. Your left hand on my shoulder as I slip to the ground. We should have rehearsed. So that's for that book. That's it for that book. Now I'll read from a collection of poems I wrote about 3 years ago. So I've been sending it around. Nothing yet, but who knows? Okay, so this is called I Appear. I appear out of a hat, change my wig, a beach vacation lover, fry an egg in someone else's butter, go jump in the lake so someone can take hold of me, arms, legs, breasts, their lips on the shore too late to revive me, or die of old age like all the others. I'll be left with my shy wooden coffin and the 100 little starlings flying above me in specificity, zigzagging. Do you read me? Is Vonnegut for children? It does say junior on the cover. Our son can soak in those tones, his blood receptive. I'm good at soaking in the bell tone of your voice, if I'm not thinking. When trying, I fumble, a dumb kid, loop of string thrown to the ground. If the sky crumbles into blue chunks, no one will know how to listen, but you will tell them how pretty the blue. Your voice peeling as we're pushed into dirt. Proximity. Pile onto the school bus for a field trip to the cemetery. Scritching of pencils on headstones. Here's a winged cherub. Atop a telephone pole, a cuckoo says, cuckoo, 15 times before taking a breather. The kids don't care what time it is. It's nap time, said the teacher. Put down your pencils. Don't lie on top of a grave. Find a spot in between. But the children lose patience and get back on the bus. It takes two to operate the giant steering wheel and a third for the pedals. At 7-Eleven, they eat ice cream. When they report their teacher missing, a search team goes out. It takes only a few minutes for the dogs to discover one of the coffins is haunted. A closeness in the air as rain clouds cross the sky and a light rain sprinkles the town. One of the cops talks and talks about how lovely the spring blossoms are on those plum trees, shaking his head in disbelief. Our birds. Recognize a distant cousin at 50 paces. That one's a prairie chicken. Borrow binoculars, see? Finches come in many colors, like passports. Scrub jay? Seems mean at first, but once you get to know him, this mallard tries to perch on a branch, thinks she's a passerine. Our fault, all this confusion. We're so determined to identify each one. Some birds spend the whole winter in the air. Just think of it. We'll never understand. They don't have driver's licenses, but we attach bands to their legs in tiny letters, their names and addresses. Imagine living like that. Imagine flying. Instead, it's the stork club for drinks. The house finch goes on at 9. Okay, and now into my latest collection. This is a book where I'm just all the poems I'm drawing on childhood memories. So it's a little bit different for me because until then I hadn't written too many super personal poems, more like fictional poems or poems about other people. So this book is called My Previous Versions, and this poem is called Lake Michigan. Houses at the shore, people on streets in straight lines lock themselves in. Light spring breeze ruffles the flags. At the beach, a boy's lost key. Will I have to live someone else's life? He sifts sand between his fingers, gulps his fear, the boundless lake gaping at him. What if it's no one's? Hello? But they've all folded up their towels and gone home, the air too chilly this late in the day. He searches till his lips turn blue and the moon turns white. Fathers and mothers, snug in their beds, don't always remember who their children are. When we lose something for good, memories are supposed to be a comfort. There was a shed in the backyard for the bicycles, and a key hiding in an old tin on a shelf. On the floor, a scattering of sand. Someone had wiped off their legs. Warning, choking hazard. Oh, and by the way, this one is in tanka form. There's like 3 tanka stanzas. Warning, choking hazard. 1. Put pennies up on the train rail. Run down and wait. They told us one boy got killed. Oh no, we said, faking it. Dead kids can't find us. 2. Like a dumpster fire, a bloody nose will not bulk. Smear the chalkboard with ulcers. I will not apologize. Haunt me or vanish. 3. Children's voices, loud, wild, within a fence to stop their flailing elbows. Shelter each from falling out, or with an iron, burn them. So this next one's kind of a poem of associations around the name Eve. So first you have the Eve of Adam and Eve. Then you have the movie All About Eve. That's the one with Betty Davis. And then Eve Babbitt, who was a writer in the 70s and 80s and kind of an unusual person. If you're not familiar, check her out, Eve Babbitt. And this poem is dedicated to Karen Finley, who is the bookshop owner at our little bookshop in Vallejo, Alibi Books, wonderful place. A small word to describe my feelings. What is it when a person gets inside you? Or a burial, the priest whispering sweet nothings. Adam's apple. That's why the collar has that little white chunk. Did they call Eve sister when she passed by the church? Think all about her, the behind-the-scenes story. Did she know Marilyn Monroe? In hindsight, the reading James Joyce photo is a pity. Sometimes I wish I could return to the dead. Sometimes I wish the opposite, something beyond me, a thrill, an unviable transcendence. If only Eve and her friend could have been my classmates, oh, how much fun we would have had. Eve attended Hollywood High. I don't understand that. A brand of sorry for them journalism in that town. Mine was a 19th century Victorian, blonde bricks. Over our heads was a shadow, pounded with a wrecking ball. All right, and this next one is called The Young and the Restless. Yes, it comes from that old soap opera, which is still on the air, as far as I know. I walked 20 miles to the park down the street. My mind free, the air still. I was on my way where there was a chance of a chance. Past the garage, then the next one, and the next. The long alley stretched away, and I found my vim and took off. Not a peep. The place empty of souls. What the hell do people do all day? I came upon a diamond, too big to see. I squatted low and examined a white plate that didn't exist in nature. Using my fingers, I brushed scraps of dirt to cover it. But my hands were sticky. When I realized how common this was, I began to doubt everything. I began to doubt everything. The fluffy caterpillar from yesterday I couldn't find. I collapsed on my stomach as if on a layer of snow, made an angel in the dirt. Sound of a squad car, footsteps I tried to ignore. The guy wanted to know what I thought I was doing. Big man. What did he think I was doing? But he put me in the front seat. And when we pulled up to the house, my mom was crying. Okay, so I think this might be the last one. How am I doing on time?
5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes. Okay, well, I have a couple other ones for you as well. My poems are generally on the short side. So growing up in the Chicago area, I watched a lot of TV as a kid. Some of the locally produced kid shows there. WGN TV. Each afternoon, a goose who clapped his beak and a duck fed big flopping leaves of iceberg lettuce formed my contingent. Shelveston was a real duck and fluffed his wings, but the goose was a puppet whose beak language, translated by a stout man named Fraser, told us of recent gossip in their neighborhood. The appearance of things we had to imagine. Garfield's lusty organ music always served as his introduction. His window open, notes came from the murky depths of an ocean inhabited by a man in an ancient diving suit who walked in a clumsy blur along the floor. A young woman down there named Minerva we saw resting on a rock. But she had no legs and couldn't even swim, though her woman's body ended with a fishtail. Come to think of it, her hair didn't float. Was there really any water at all? According to my brother, they were in a room in a TV studio. So there was no ocean? No Diver Dan? That meant there was no Minerva either. Today, my brother and I reminisce. Maybe the wardrobe technicians had to carry the actress from her dressing room to the rock. Maybe she was frustrated. Maybe she felt like giving up. Something unattainable. We all had in common our differences, which we celebrated with donuts at midnight. our flailing arms and legs in expression of our youthful scattiness. At the all-night movie, we sat in a long row of chairs, talked back to the people on the screen. Our voices rose and the crowd joined in. A little kid screeched with laughter, and his father lifted him onto his shoulders. We jumped from our seats, ran around yelling, threw stuff. I quoted Nietzsche, but couldn't be heard. Chairs were stomped on and broken. The tipped giant Coke machine hit the floor with a thunder crash, splashing flooding foam, gashed knees, broken glass, blood and tear gas. A ricocheting bullet grazed Julia's shoulder, said she felt dizzy. I ripped the fabric and licked the wound dry, a taste I won't forget. Well, that one is obviously pretty surrealistic, but it did stem from my memories being an usher at the movie theater at age 15, back when they had ushers. History. Young family out for a walk. Mother's eyes distant, ruminating. Baby in her arms has the same face, but eyes more intent on the present. Father is accepting, holds little boy's hand, a boy who is silly, goofing as little boys do, and with his eyes crossed, he looks a little odd. When the father tells us the boy is developmentally delayed, we feel bad for not knowing what to say. In 60 years, the historical record will report, in 2022, they were harmful to each other because they didn't know any better. In 60 years, there will still be war, like the one we're enduring right now, or worse. They'll look back and think we didn't understand ourselves. But we do know. We always know. Thank you very much.
Right on target. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. Unmute, ladies and gentlemen, and let him hear. Ah, I like those childhood pieces.
Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great reading, Jeff.
Thanks so much.